I'm gonna refresh too.
So fresh and so clean.
Give everyone a minute to tune in. Did we do a tweet? Am I so behind?
Oh.
Okay. Are we live? Did we do the thing?
Hey, here we are.
Okay.
Amazing.
So, all right, I'm going to start then. There we go. And then the stream has it. Oh, there we go. I refreshed. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Games on the Rocks number 22.
What?
We're totes legal, and now we're past drinking. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Tonight is episode 22, Top of the Pops. We're going to be talking top lists, how to build them if they're good, why people do them so much, and what value they have. With me are my lovely co-hosts. I have Miss Nicole Hoy. Hello, Nicole.
Good evening.
What are you drinking?
Just my purple concoction. I don't know what it is about Games on the Rocks, but I often make this purple concoction to drink with my beautiful unicorn ladies. And in the middle, at least on our chat window that I can see, is the magnificent Sue Sheldon. Yes, yes. It's also a 3-day weekend here in Canada. Huzzah. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah.
I can't hear Sue's.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. I love this. This is the most amazing thing.
Like, move it around in circles and stuff. I can't hear you. No. Okay.
No, let's make this happen. We're making this
happen.
Just
gonna double check.
See, this we tested before, and it kind of worked.
Kind of. Sue's did.
Aww.
Can you rejoin the Google chat and see if that helps? Okay. Yeah, probably. We might be back.
What happens if you click on yourself in the window? Because I'm highlighted right now. So we can hear Suze perfectly. You wouldn't believe the swears she's saying right now.
So many swears. I have never in my life.
Is it an XSplit thing? Or an OBS thing? Or
yeah. No, because you use Game Show or whatever. Or can't remember.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Well, we might need to restart then, Suze.
Yeah. We're gonna give.
You can join the chat from another, like, from your iPad or something, and just leave the streaming up. But I totes have done that before.
Oh. I don't know.
I don't know.
They can hear us.
Nicole, let's talk, because like the literal reason I was 3 minutes late was that my charity night just hit $100,000. $100,000.
I was looking at your total earlier tonight, and I was like, "Oh, they're at 99,000! Oh my god!" So that is like 100 billion% better than like even the year I was there. So cool.
It's so cool. Like, so I started the gauntlet 4 years ago with our little, like, at work we have a charitable wing. And so this is our 4th year, and this is the first time we have reached $100,000. I'm so excited. Oh my god, this is crazy.
Oh, it's a little Suze. That's so cute.
So many Suzes everywhere.
This is magic.
Okay.
This is so magic.
Okay, I need to like join on my phone, and so we can have like a million of us.
Oh my God. So can anybody in chat hear Stu's number 2? If so, let us know. And if that's the case, then we can keep on going.
It's even better because Suze, we're hearing you doubled in our chat.
I know.
Oh no, I can turn on the. I can fix that in our chat at least.
Okay.
Okay, so hopefully that helps.
So Netters can't hear Suze 1 or 2. So wait.
Hold on. Wait.
Okay, yes, they hear you now. That's magic. Okay.
Yay! We have more Suze.
This is awesome. So I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that in like Twitch we can see your like the whatever it is, taskbar? I don't know. What is that thing called up there?
The part where you put the URL in. I don't know what it's called.
Yes, an address bar. I don't know if that has anything to do with how wacky our sound is going. But anyway, we have a thing.
Okay.
And
so the gauntlet. Yay, gauntlet money for kids.
Yay, gauntlet.
Right? It's so exciting because our beneficiary is Treehouse this year, and they do amazing work with foster kids, and they not only like provide them regular like clothing and that type of stuff, they also give them opportunities and like piano lessons or ballet lessons or things like that you can't get access to when you're a foster kid. I think it's so freaking cool, and I'm so excited. And their warehouse rocks because they make so they get the guy that does the merchandising for Nordstrom to come in and like do their store, and every family gets like an X amount of budget, and they just come in and they shop. And it's just like normal shopping, like with a cart and everything. It's so cool.
That's really awesome.
Yay, Treehouse.
I love the charities that you guys pick every year. Makes me really happy.
They're really good. There's some really good charities in Seattle, so I'm pretty excited.
Really are. Yeah. So, and I'm so happy for you guys that even before this is happening, like it's what, Sunday that it's on? You guys
It's on Sunday.
You've broken through the 100K.
Right, and we always do a really good business the day of. Like lots of people donate as they watch the stream. It's at twitch.tv/Card Kingdom on Sunday if you want to watch 20 teams duke it out.
It's fun. It's fun times, and I always like being in chat for that. So hopefully I will get in on that action. Congratulations. I'm so proud for you.
That's why I've been tired for many, many hours and many, many days. But
you will sleep so well on Monday.
I go to a trade show on Tuesday though, so I got work to do. It's great that I'm going to Madison, Wisconsin for the first time. I've never been to Madison.
Awesome. Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, if you can somehow do a day trip to the House on the Rock, you must.
So I was trying to figure out how to work that in because you told me on Twitter like a month ago that you'd been there, and my little heart died of jealousy.
It's so strange.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
It was really awesome when I went. That was a while ago now. But yeah, it's just such a strange spot, and I highly recommend stopping by if you're ever in that area of Wisconsin. I was very glad to be able to go there. The only
thing I'm really hoping for though is cheese curds. That's all I'm caring about.
I'm pretty sure that will happen. Like,
I'm gonna make it happen.
Chances are high.
And frozen custard.
Oh, frozen custard.
I'm okay with frozen custard, but cheese curds are priority, Suze.
Fair. I respect that.
Well, that's exciting. Yay, travel.
Yeah. Oh. And then Origins in a couple weeks. So
yes.
I'm a hug Nicole.
I'm so stoked for Origins. It's gonna be so good. It's really not fair that Suze is not gonna be there.
It's not fair.
We'll have 3/4 of the games on the rocks folks there. So
yeah, we're gonna Periscope or something from Origins. So
that'd be amazing. We'll try and do that from
BGG Con.
It was pretty epic.
It was one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, we do. We need to know what Suze is drinking. It's very important, Crystal. You're very smart.
Oh,
Good point.
Since I can never get my butt in gear, and I honestly don't know which camera to look at. Like, I'm so confused right now. Because I can't get my butt in gear. This is my favorite right now, like, quick drink. It's Bundaberg ginger beer and
Yes.
And bourbon. So
Nice.
It's a nice drink.
or whiskey. I guess it's whiskey. Knob Creek is whiskey.
Sure.
Bourbon is a kind of whiskey, but
It's
it's very
a thing.
specific to a region.
They're all actually. I think Knob Creek is bourbon. I think you're
Knob
correct.
Creek is bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be all corn
So,
and lovely.
Cheers
all
to that,
bourbon.
ladies.
Nice. Cheers. What have you got there, Mags?
I am drinking Rioja because red wine sounded good.
And it's hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Is that the communion wine? Is that what's happening?
Yes. That was pretty much all of BGG Con, was all of us running around with wine in our cups. Hashtag
Yes,
blessed.
except mine was cider. So secrets. So thank you for joining us this evening, all of you lovely people.
Yay, hi chat. It's been so
yeah.
long.
It has been so long. We did not come together last week because we're all busy bees. And this week, Steph is at Geekway to the West, which I'm quite jelly of. It looks like a really awesome con. So maybe
good.
next year.
Yeah,
So it's the three of us tonight.
I have family in St. Louis. I keep meaning to try and get Geekway in, but this year it ended up being Origins instead.
Yeah, actually, I think it would probably be one or the other because they're so close together.
Yeah,
That's tough.
it's hard to get that much time off work. Like, conventions are long and hard, and they don't really feel like vacation, so it's really hard to do them back to back.
Yes. So I'm kind of glad that that's happening, like spaced out enough from Dice Tower Con for me that it's not like right one after the other. Not too much anyway. So yes, it is us three magical ladies with our technical workarounds this evening.
Oh, move on. I want to point out that I'm having I'm being
Men's hockey
snacker because as a woman, and I'm totes gonna eat this entire box of hockey for men.
I love Pocky for Men. It cracks me up.
They're so good too. Like, they're distinctly better, and that makes me angry. What? Like,
the gender divide in Pocky snacking is
all those poor women out there that are like, they don't know what they're missing out on because like, oh, it's for men, I can't eat it. Like, you know, they see the restrictive label, and like, so women and men, get out there, non-binary people. These are for you.
Damn it, yes. Pocky for all. Pocky for all.
Anyway, so top 10s. Let's talk about top 10.
Yes, not top 10 Pocky snacks. Just
Well, wait. Can we do the top 10 Pocky snacks? Because I feel like
we could do that.
Because we've got
strawberry.
Oh yeah, just the regular chocolate ones are pretty high for me still.
I used to eat men's Pocky back in the day. I don't eat Pocky now because none of them are dairy free. But yeah, men's Pocky are good because they are like a slightly darker chocolate. I love the ones with like toasted coconut flakes in them. Very delicious. Those ones are very good.
Crunchy almonds on the outside.
Crunchy almonds also excellent. Anything crunchy flavors?
With tea.
Yeah.
Green tea is
Netters. I am not a big fan of the chocolate banana flavor.
I haven't tried it.
Kids like it.
I don't like banana flavored stuff.
Yeah.
I like actual bananas. So, okay, I think we've covered our top Pockies.
we had to get that out of the way. Like, it would have been a burning question for the rest of the night.
So, Meg, you are in the middle of kind of an epic journey down the top lane, right?
Right.
So,
like,
this is literally one of the first times I've ever done a top anything list. So I decided to do my top 100 games of all time. You know, the next easy warm up. But it was really fun. So I basically was wanting, like, I tried to do a top 10 during a Novlomo a couple years back. And I got so sick and tired by the end of the month I couldn't finish it. So like no one ever knew my top 3. Like I got from top 10 all the way to top 4 doing one vlog a day, and then I just stopped.
I mean, that's more than I've ever done.
Almost got there. So this time what I did is I kind of front loaded all the content I needed by doing it. I tried out the like PowerPoint style of doing a video. So like I built slides and then I just camera over a corner of the slide. So I just like build slides in PowerPoint, and then I start my editing software to just record my screen and talk over, like giving a slide presentation. So I can do all the slides beforehand.
That's so smart.
That is good.
Oh my gosh.
So it's all like, I have a top 100 already. Like if PowerPoint was a more popular social feature, I would be able to share those.
But then spoilers, right? So...
Right. And that's why, like, a couple people were like, can I just have your top 100 list? So I just emailed them the Excel I built.
Oh, amazing.
Because, so, like, what I basically did for my personal top 100 was that I used some software from a website called PubMeeple, P-U-B meeple.com. Yeah. And they just let you, like, upload any list you want and then rank them. And you just go, would I rather have Honshu or Jiraku? And, like, you push left, right, left, right, left, right. And eventually asks you about all the combinations to get your list in the order that you would have, and it spits it out for you. And then I took that list and had some feelings about it. So anytime I thought something like crept up too high, or like, because, you know, new games are going to be higher than you probably want them to be overall. Yeah. So I reordered it a little bit, added a couple games I had missed from not having logged any plays of them ever. And it took me like 2 days.
That is epic.
And that tool looks really cool. Like a few weeks ago, it seemed like it was kind of hitting the social media channels from different board game community members. But I haven't tried it. But I'd be interested in hearing how much you liked it or didn't like it, or whether it worked for you. Like, kind of how did you do this now?
So for that method, it sort of works like the Tom Vassell method, which I'm a huge fan of, where it's kind of that you put the two things next to each other and you try and figure out which one you'd want more, but then you keep the same one on one side until you kind of figure out where it belongs in the line. For this one, it computers it away from you. All you see are the two comparisons at one time, and they're not the same games over and over. Not always. I think for me, it saved me many, many hours of getting like the basis for the ranking correct and then just going over and editing it myself. I think it was the perfect like tool for it. And really, if you were wanting to, because you're a dork like me, you could just rank anything. It's like a notepad upload. So you just upload any list you want. And then you can find out your top Pocky flavors for yourself.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I think I do like that idea of using a tool like that as a starter. Like I haven't done any top lists of anything like top hundreds. It just, well, I don't do videos to start with, so that's probably a big reason.
But you write a lot for a blog, so
yeah. So I mean, usually for the lists that I'll do, they're never really ranked. It's just like, here's a group of games that I think are great in this genre. So it's kind of like an unranked, like top 5 or 6, or however many I feel like including. So yeah. So it's a lot easier for me to do it that way around. Whereas, like, I think for just a, like, pick your top 100 games, Nicole, I'd be like, I don't even know where to start. Oh, God. help.
So, yeah. So I didn't know, like, how many games to include or what to rank. So I literally took every game I had logged a play of in Board Game Geek, and that's what I used for my ranking. So that was 430
that's a really
games.
Good idea. Yeah.
No, not for people who aren't me. Because I can sit here and push buttons on a computer and not mine, but it did take me hours.
I would do that, though. Because I wouldn't want to like not include anything I've ever like I have a list of games I own, but also like there's loads of games I don't own that I really love.
Well, that's my problem. Like I don't own Keyflower, but I knew that would be somewhere in my top 100. I like that game, you know. So it was like I had to include as many things as I could, and the easiest way was what I had logged. Suze, I was wondering, like, so this is just a new project that's on my like personal channel. Suze was actually a stretch goal. Right?
This is true.
So Suze was asked by the Dice Tower when they were doing Indiegogo, Kickstarter, some sort of crowdfunding.
Indiegogo, yep.
So they said that like if they made X amount of dollars, Suze would do a top 100 games. So I'm excited to hear about like some of your experience with that.
It was stressful, and I think that what surprised me is how interested people are in hearing about this stuff. Like, to me, I'm like, who cares what my top games are? But it turns out people are actually interested in it. Not me specifically, but I think people just like thinking that way. They like ranking and they like comparisons and things like that. And a top 10 or top 100 or top 50, which is what I ended up doing, is a way to do that. And I cheated. Like, I realized I thought the top 100 games was just overwhelming for me, quite frankly. And so I cheated. I decided to split into two series: top 50 board games and top 50 board game apps. And I'm actually board game apps list out 7 months ago. So
I remember it was really good.
Yay! So I'm behind on that, but I enjoyed doing it. But I think that it'd be interesting, like, what people's methodologies would be. And I'm interested in hearing from the chat and from you, Nicole, even though you haven't done it. Like, how would you do it? Because I realize sometimes it feels arbitrary. I kind of did that laddering method, right? Where you're, okay, well, which one did I rather play? Okay. Which one did I rather play? Okay. That kind of thing. But it becomes based practically, for me at least, you know, feel like playing Kalis, or do I feel like playing Quinto, or do I feel like playing Magic? I mean, how do you compare those games?
Yeah.
You rank them against each other.
Yes.
So, really challenging.
That's one of the big questions, right? Because, like, hands down, given my druthers, if I was just sitting around and I could play anything I want with the perfect amount of players and I had all the time in the world, like, I would probably pick, you know, Arclight or Magic more than I would pick Jiraku, right? However, you have to consider that there are also time constraints. So like portability and time and number of players, that all has to kind of go into your ranking, at least for me, because I'm going to like a game better if I can play it more. Imperial Settlers is higher than 51st State for me because I can play Imperial Settlers with anyone. So like that for me is important, being able to play a game, because I have so many games that I like that no one else likes in my life. That makes me sad.
But I think there would be people that when they hear you say that, I'm sure in a very nice way, they could be critical of that. They could be like, no, it's your ranking. It should be your opinion, your pure opinion of the game. And factor X, factor Y, factor C shouldn't factor in to how you rank it.
Right. So I'm going to actually include an entire video. I'm doing 10 videos of 10 games, and then one video of games that you probably expected to see here, games that influenced all these games, like the way I did my ranking, no apologies, and here's my like honorable mentions type thing.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Get that all out of the way. It's just going to be in that magical week that I'm doing this that I have extra time.
Yeah. You just got to do up a PowerPoint for that. So you just got to put your little camera box in it and you'll be fine.
I've got my PowerPoint for it. I got all my PowerPoints.
Girl, you're good.
Well, in the chat, I just saw Netters Play saying it seems like top games need to be categorized by time or genre or something. And
yeah,
I think that's really interesting. And ranking out videos in all these really esoteric categorizations, really see the appeal of that, kind of going to what Netters is saying, because you're starting to compare like to like more.
Yeah. I think
Like,
there's more value if you're using those videos as a searching tool. I'm looking for a game that's sort of like, X or Y game. I'm looking for something like Imminent Domain. What should I want? So you try and find like best 10 sci-fi deck builders, and like those niche categories can help with that one thing. Top 100s, I would generally say, is a good way to hear about people that have like tastes with you about the games they like, and maybe see something highlighted that you really enjoy too, or see something that you've never heard of. But I agree that top 100s don't have a good like solid purpose beyond that.
yeah, it's kind of amorphous. Like when you get to a point where it's 100 games, like just because a game is number 100 doesn't mean it's a bad game. Like you're not ranking just 100 games from like best to worst. It's like 100 games you love and you want to tell people about. Like they're all going to be something that you love for some reason. And I think that's always good to bear in mind when you're looking at a top whatever list. But like when you mention like the top 10 sci-fi deck builders, et cetera, like, I mean, that's one thing that the Dice Tower does. Like they have a theme for each of their top 10s, which is quite interesting. And it's not just for games, it's like for all sorts of things that they've started doing nowadays. Like I watched one of their videos recently. It was like the top 10 thing that publishers need to stop doing, which is very interesting. Like
I was so proud of that video. So I don't usually watch angry negative things online. I just don't like them. It's not my thing. And so I very hesitantly watched that one because I tend to watch a lot of the bigger top 10 lists from them. And it was not bad. It was useful, constructive criticism, not calling anyone out and being mean. Like, even if you could be mean to a lot of companies for some of these faux pas, they were just like, but literally, to make my hobby better, here are some things you could do. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It was a good critique of a number of things that can be frustrating when you're a gamer. I thought it was a very cool way to approach it. So like I do like that top 10s have started to go a little bit beyond that original scope of just like, here's a top 10 like list of games kind of thing. And I mean, I'd like to think about doing something like an esoteric category, for a written review soon, something like, the top 5 games that are great to bring to a work gathering, or something like that. I mean, I know people are looking for things like that, and it might be useful.
And the only problem with deviating from a very established formula is that, and I kid you not, this is not true of a top 100, but anything that says top 10, you will double your normal views. Like it's just true. The SEO on top 10 lists is better than any other kind of board game content, which is why everyone does them.
We all, like, no matter what, any kind of listicle that we do on the Daily Worker Placement will get better views. Like, it's accessible. People can just like scan down a list and they're like, cool, okay. So
yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, I know it feels passe every time someone posts one. Like, I will make fun of something specific right now. I apologize to everyone. But they did a top 10. They were doing a designer or a publisher series on Dice Tower. They did the top 10 Wizards of the Coast board games.
Is there 10?
There are 10, but there's not much more than 10. So it's like, it's a good highlight to do the publisher. And I think that's true. But I don't know that it's really giving you a lot of critique in ranking anything. Like, it didn't need to be a top 10.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Suze comes back.
Oh no, we lost a Suze.
But I think the top 10 lists for me, if a channel is all top 10s, they probably are not my style anyway. I tend to like getting to know people. Like Richard Ham is like the way that I really got into content. Richard Ham and Undead Viking for sure. Yeah. Overheated.
Oh no, it's overheated. Oh no.
Oh man. So that's not good.
Oh. Suze, no.
Suze. Maybe your iPad, Suze.
Yeah.
You can't overheat everything, can you?
Maybe we can try and get Suze's main sound.
Right. So we can hear Sue's number 1. She killed Sue's number 2 for being a pod person. So we're working on number 3. But our phone is way too hot right
we can do. It would be awesome if we could start hearing mega Sues.
Yeah, go get your iPad. So I can only move on.
Oh my Lord.
There's going to be 3 Suses soon. I'm so excited. This is not as good as Gidget and stuff, but we're trying to make it closer.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nicholas Coe has just said top 10 Suses, and I think they have an excellent suggestion there. Because we're about to get to...
Do you know that this world would be a better place if there were 10 Suses?
Oh, yeah.
I want to live in that world. I want to...
there'd be no pie, though. We really have to fight for some pie.
No. Pie would become a new kind of economy, right? Like, pie right now doesn't really affect our economy that much. But it totes would if there were 10 Suses.
Okay. I see your point. I understand this.
It's so good. Hell, if there were 10, there might even be a Canadian Suze. You could have a Suze.
Oh, yes! I would love that. That would be amazing. Could be like a Vancouver Suze and a Seattle Suze.
Suses all over the world.
Oh man, I love this. How can you expect us to rank Suses? They're all number 1. Crystal, you are correct. You are correct. If there were 10 Suses, they are all number 1. We're ranking you, Suze. Just, you know. Not you as one entity. I mean, 10 Suses. That's Dr. definitely Suze. Fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's what I was getting at if I didn't say it so succinctly, because you're amazing. Then, yes. You know, that's
so for those of you who couldn't hear Suze, aka everybody but me and Mags, she's just mentioned that top 100s are a really great way to get to know somebody as a gamer and their tastes, versus top 10s as being a great way to understand a topic or like a niche genre of games. Totally true.
Well, especially because, like, for me, like, watching review, even if I don't agree with a human about their tastes in games, like, at least if I know where they're coming from, I can kind of, like, judge their opinion with that as a shadow. Sorry, so many Suses.
There is another Suze. We've got her now.
Okay, good.
I don't know what to do. This is such a...
Oh, this is amazing.
This is like versus writing Suze.
Found footage, like Suze recordings.
It's like the Blair Witch, but it's with Suze.
When Stephanie hears this, she's gonna be so like, Suzanne's never allowed to touch the stream again.
It's fine.
Steph did this on purpose because she's got job security this summer.
Yes, right? She knows we can't live without her.
Oh my goodness. Okay, there's something in my...
Hey, stream, can you hear Suze?
I hate you so much.
Can you hear Suze's?
Wait a minute.
Nicole and I can hear all the Suze's, so
it's pretty great. Yeah. Crystal has just mentioned that she knows Roy from Epic Gaming Night has very similar tastes to her. So she finds value in perhaps watching his top 100 because it's going to be games that she will likely enjoy also. And I think that's a good point. If you find somebody that tends to make content about games that you like or post a lot about games that you like, it's probably going to be pretty interesting to see what they say, read their top 100 games. And, you know, maybe like with 100 games in a list, I would say you could probably discover something new as well.
I'm going to say with 100 games, like, okay, I've been gaming really a lot for like 7 years now. And I played 400, right?
Yeah.
imagine like someone that's been playing since when gaming started, like the big stuff in the States is like 92 to 97.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have hundreds more games than me.
Yeah.
And
So
Go is
it's
not
just
even on my list, and it's still making me mad.
Okay, so here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna see if the chat could hear you.
Oh, can chat hear me? Which is one of me? I don't know. Also, like
I would think so.
Apparently, is very big. I don't know. This is so weird.
Yeah,
Okay,
they can hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So did you guys talk about? Did y'all talk about while I was out that like, do we have a requirement for how many times you play the game before it like legit can go on a tops list?
No, we haven't spoken about that. It's a good one.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
I mean, so here's the thing, right? A tops list is not a review. Can we all agree on that? Or is there?
I think so. Yep.
Okay. So
it's an endorsement. I don't know if that matters.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you've only played 100 games.
This is true.
Right, but here's the thing, right? And I think that on this side, some of us have had conversations about this directly, is we've played a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, we've played a lot of games. And so a lot of times you can look at a game, at one play of a game, and you have enough context or reference for that game to understand what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you've seen before, what feels fresh, all this other stuff, right? So, you know, I understand if you're reviewing, you have to play something multiple times to see the different facets of it and to understand, you know, outlying situations and all this other stuff. But on a tops list, if you're an experienced player that's played literally hundreds upon hundreds of games, is it fair, right, just, equitable, legitimate, credible, whatever synonym you want to use, to put a game that you've only played once on it?
It's a really interesting point. So personally, I think every time someone does a top whatever list, or if they frequently do top lists, they should give their audience an expectation of the rules for their lists. I would want to know if you want to rank something and you've only played it once. I just want to know, like, hey, when I rank something, I do it, you know, no matter how many times I've played the game, 1 to 50, and that would at least set somewhat of an expectation for me, because one of the most important things in my gaming life and me being happy about a game is that if it has like asymmetric parts or something, I want those to be balanced. And yes, I believe you can review, I believe you can rank, I believe you can talk about a game after one play, but good golly, you cannot talk to balance. You can't talk to best strategy. I don't care who you are or how much gaming knowledge you have. No, you cannot.
Yeah.
So I would get very frustrated, like taking someone talking about the balance of a game after only one play. But that's my personal taste. So I think it's like, if everyone just kind of gives their parameters out front and they said, here's my list and here's how I made it, that could be more valuable overall.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned, you know, putting a game on a list is an endorsement. I think that's fine. If you've played it once, sure. Like, I don't mind. But if you're singling out a game and reviewing it, and talking in depth about it and, you know, strategies and stuff like that, yeah, then maybe I'm gonna give you the side eye. So
give the side eye, Nicole. Let me see your best side eye. I want to see it.
Oh, I don't want that.
You best not cross me.
That eye. Holy cow.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Bastard.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Well, I was going to say one last thing on this particular thing was that I feel like some of the time spent before or after the game, hopefully not during, because it is a big pet peeve of mine. Like, in my group, if we're playing a new game for the first time or the second or third time, we'll kind of break down parts of it. We'll talk about the game. We'll kind of like say the parts of it that stood out to us and we're feeling fresh or we imagine might not work in the future. So there is some value to the first impressions. I tend to talk about my first impressions a lot because what a lot of people that I talk to want to know is like, hey, is big, hot, fresh, new game like worth my time? Should I just buy it or not? And I think that it's unique to maybe the people I'm talking to.
Yeah.
This like niche of the niche of the niche. But like in my life, it's valuable to have a pretty strong first impression, like to actually give yourself some thought.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would also like somebody to make a game called Big Hot Fresh New Game. I mean, how could you not want that game? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Big Hot Fresh New Game. We've got some game designers in the chat. Somebody can come up with that game, and then they can
Just
make it a
bang it
roll
out.
and write somehow about pie, and then and bread.
I like
comes
that
back.
title better than the meta titles, the deck building game or whatever, because those are
Big-
impossible to Google for my job, everyone,
Yeah.
with your meta games.
Big, fresh, hot bakery roll and move.
So what do people want to, other than you know, hearing about our favorite baked goods in a tops list, what do people want to hear? Like, what do we enjoy hearing in a tops list about the games? Like, because, you know, literally I could go ahead and make a 30-minute top 100 games list and just sit there and read, you know, my Excel spreadsheet
Sure.
down, you know, right? Payless, Magic, Pinochle. Like, it would be super entertaining, of course, because I would drink 3 bourbons beforehand and then it would just go out of control. But
You guys, let me tell you what I really love about Kalis. You'll never guess.
you know,
It's
there's drunk history.
Oh man, we
There's
should
drunk
definitely
history.
do
We
drunk
not
board game
do,
reviews.
like, drunk board game reviews. I mean, I think the show is almost there, but
It's close. It's close. It's close.
I need a buddy, like, right in my home with me if
Yeah.
we were ever gonna do something like that. I need a buddy. But like, how deep do people want us to go? Because it was interesting. I prepped when I had to do my tops video. I kind of prepped by watching some other people's, and I realized a lot of the comments were complimentary when you shared a little bit more of your personal angle. Not just, you know, these are the mechanics I like, but what touches you personally? What did you enjoy, like, on a personal level? And anytime there was like a personal story related to your friends or your family, or a personal moment that you could share in context of that tops list, people really responded well to that. And so I tried to do a little of that in my list, and I think I could have done more. But do people actually like that? Is it distracting? Do you want an overview of the game, like a 4-sentence overview of the game, or you just talk about, like, you know, this is Kalis and I love it because it's kind of mean and it has cubes and it has a grumpy dude on the cover that, you know, can even beat Nicole's side eye. I don't know.
Maybe we should. I'll find a copy and we'll have a stare off.
We have to do side by side. Totally, I want that picture.
Oh my gosh. Well, so for me personally as a consumer, and I think a lot of us that make content in whatever way we make it, make content that we would like to watch. Like, that's my goal in life, is to make things that I would find interesting if someone else were doing them. So the things I like in top lists the best are either small personal stories, kind of like what you're talking about, or even if someone did a little bit of research for me and found a cool, like, backstory of how the game got named, or some bit about the theme, like Uwe putting his family into Fields of Arlo, like on the little bench on one of the dikes. I find that stuff to be the most endearing, amazing things, because I can play whatever game you want to put on a list. I don't have to worry about that. I can read the rules. I can do all that for myself. But if you did some bonus research for me, like, that's the stuff that really gets my goat. Like, that's my stuff. So,
is getting your goat a good thing, or is getting the goat a bad
I
thing?
love goats.
Goats are adorable.
Okay, so goats are good.
Definitely a good thing.
Pajamas.
All right, so baked goods, goats in pajamas, make a game, boom, sold. But I do. That's a really good point that I hadn't really thought of before. Like, those weird little factoids that I love in, like, all sorts of other things, like when I watch Mental Floss, like
Me too. That's totally, like,
it's just like the weird little facts about things, like maybe you've heard of that thing before, but here's a weird little snippet, and it's
I wish
so cool.
life were pop-up video. I want, like, an alternate reality game that is just pop-up video for everything.
Yes.
Right?
So
Pop-up
good.
video, but for everything. I'm inventing
Amazing.
that.
That would be that video series would be if someone produced that show for board games. That would be a hit.
But you could just do that with your PowerPoint slides in your top 100.
Yeah, that's an amazing idea. Holy cow.
If I were to do that, that would be the first time I would ever need to actually get paid to make videos because it would take forever.
It would take a long time. All right, I'm just gonna put the Kickstarter live now, and we'll be rich. It'll be fine. No copyright infringement. Nothing. Nothing. No
It'll
problems.
be fine.
Yeah.
We'll totes be okay.
So yeah, little weird things like that where, and it's Easter eggs. Oh man. Top 10 Easter eggs in games. That's going to be my listicle on the Daily Worker Placement next week. Stuff like the panda in Jaipur. When you play certain rooms in the castles of Mad King Ludwig, when there's like little games of werewolf on some of the tables is amazing. That's yeah. Anyway. Tangent. Coming back to the thing that we're talking about.
I'm distracted. Daniel had not heard of a piadine before. So I was eating a thing yesterday, and it's a crispy crust with a bunch of cheese, artichokes, olives, bell pepper, arugula, and deliciousness inside it. And if you've not had one, you need one for everyone.
I do.
I'm like, sorry, I hadn't eaten in like 16 hours yesterday, and my first meal was this thing, and it was amazing.
That sounds incredible.
About that, Mags.
I know.
Yeah, you need to eat.
I did eat.
Pocket full of crackers at all times. So
like a bird owner? Netters does for her bird.
Yeah, precisely.
So really, it's when we're at conventions together. So like when you're at Origins with Meg, you need to have like a pocket full of crackers, right?
Yes.
So you can just like feed them.
For my Maggie Burb.
Eat Meg.
Okay, Maggie Burb, you need to have a cracker right now. Was it want a cracker? Maggie Burb? Maggie Burb want a cracker? Yeah, this is going to be amazing.
Oh my God, this is the best idea that's ever happened. Netters, if you have crackers on your person at all times, I'm going to have to attach myself to you.
Pretty much.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
What are some, so I think we all are talking, we've talked about the Dice Tower a couple of times because they're really prolific with their top 10 list.
Oh my goodness, yes.
All over the board. And, quite frankly, I think they're fascinating. And, if there's a topic I don't really care about, I skip it. But sometimes, there's a really interesting one that I really enjoy. Plus, I know the guys a little bit, so it's fun to just kind of match games to their personalities and try to predict or whatever. But beyond that, stepping away from their formula or their existing list, what are some lists that we would like to see, even if even if somebody else has already done it or whatever? What are lists that we like to see from people? What are some of our favorite things? What are lists that people in the chat would be interested in seeing from like a top 10 perspective?
Ooh.
Right?
For me, like the top 10s I quite enjoy. So I linked to it today on Twitter. You can go check my mentions if you want. Joel Eddy made a list a couple years back of his top 10 lunchtime games because he had done a whole series of vlogs and blogs talking about trying to get the perfect games for lunchtime at his work. So if people are doing something regularly through their content and if they have something they're working on and they want to condense that down into best practices, but it gets way better hits if you call it a top 10, that's what I want. That top 10 list I have linked to 4 or 5 different people who are how do I play a game in an hour? And literally my brain goes like this, what's an hour? Because I don't play games that are that short ever.
Yeah.
It's not in my DNA. I try so hard. And I play that Century game, that Emerson's new Plan B games.
Oh yeah.
That's quick.
That's under an hour?
Quick. Oh yeah.
Oh,
it was we played it at 4 players, and if one person hadn't wanted to take real actions and think about her moves and stuff, we would have been done in a half hour.
Wow, that's quick.
She was thinking. She was awesome.
I have yet to try that. I hear it's good though.
Our friend Erwin's in the chat, and he says that he likes games that replaced this or did this better type lists, which I personally kind of get grumpy about because I don't actually want you to replace my favorite games. When people were talking about Clans of Caledonia replacing Terra Mystica, I'm like, no, I want both.
Yeah.
I don't want things to replace my favorites.
But I do games that replace games that aren't good. Like a lot of people talk about Card Kingdom.
Oh, like if you like Monopoly,
a better Machikoro kind of thing.
Right.
I like that. I don't know that there are enough examples of games I think are bad for that, but I might just be being grumpy about that because I think most games are good for somebody.
It's essentially you bought this on Amazon, maybe you'd like to buy these also algorithm top 10.
Oh, that's a good way of thinking of it.
Yeah. So it's like you're trying to take a look at what a thing is and what's similar and what presses the right buttons, etc. I don't know. I would like to see those sorts of top 10s. It's tough for me sometimes because I'm trying to introduce gaming to a lot of friends at work who are not gamers, and it's hard.
Joel Eddy has a fabulous list for you.
Yeah, well,
top 10 lunchtime.
And I mean, I don't play games necessarily at lunch. I do sometimes, but mostly I'm trying to like grab people to go to the pub after work or whatever. And so, I have the little bag of stuff I take regularly. And I've written a top, like however many fillers or whatever article, because that's the kind of games they are. And I love that kind of game. So it's like kind of easy for me to throw that together. But
how many lists can you get Go Cuckoo into?
Every one of them. Like even if it's an honorable mention, it'll get in there. Top 10 egg-based games. Actually, you probably could do that at this point.
I have one of them. I have eggs of ostriches.
Eggs of ostrich, Go Cuckoo, Gula Gulo.
You guys are getting a top 10 right now for free.
Eggs and Empires, Chicken Caesar, whatever it is, the Dancing Eggs game. This is just off the top of my head.
Dang, girl.
Oh, man. I got them eggs all up in his business. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. It would be super nice to be able to just rattle off the top of my head things that were like, hey, I've played Monopoly. What do you think I would like? Hey, I've played Settlers of Catan. What do you think I would like? And I'm really bad at that. So like having a top 10 of those like 10 popular-ish games, what might you like in addition to those?
Mm-hmm. Personally, I would like to see more art lists. I know that is not core, but the visual experience of games to me is really important. And
that's a great idea.
And so you could do styles of art, just to take an extreme example, like top 10 pixel art games, or you can on an artist, like top 10 best Sobel games, or top 10 I don't know, super famous board game artist games, because my brain went completely.
The guy who does all the Alexander Pfister games,
Couldn't think of it. I think that's probably my personal preferences coming out really, really strongly. But I would really love to just see things like that. And if nothing else, even if it's not super important, I like the idea of giving content around that to highlight those things in board games and giving it a little attention.
Yeah.
I would also like to see maybe lists of games that aren't in English. So games I really can't play, but I should really look into.
Top 10 like German only games that you can't get here. I would love that, because there's always somebody coming from the UK or Japan or somewhere that's like, hey, do you want any games? And I start like Google frenzy trying to figure out what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Also, we just have to recognize that the chat is out of control and needs to be stopped.
I don't know. I don't know what I've done. People,
I think
gosh,
through the eggs was like the best one.
it's fine.
Grand Extra Hotel.
Grand Extra Hotel is up there. Like,
right.
And there I go. It's so good. It's so right there. Oh.
Well, gosh, puns.
So I think we've covered like a good breadth of like top lists. And I mean, one question I have, mostly from my own perspective, because I don't really do ranked lists when I write stuff. I just write like, here's some great blah games. There's a list of them. So do you guys, or do you in chat actually prefer to have a rank to things, or do you actually prefer, like, it doesn't matter? Just doesn't matter to you at all?
I'm curious to know what people think about that, Nicole. That's a great point, because if I just had to say, here are my top 10, but I don't have to like rank them against each other, that would be such an easier thing to do.
But everybody, like, if it's just a straight up top 10 of your favorite games.
I was so distracted by my list. I can't even. It would be much easier to just have to say, hey, here are my top 10 favorites of this thing without having to rank them against each other. So I don't know if people really feel strongly about that or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so for me personally, I don't think you need to rank them super hard. I think 10 is too many just to have a mishmash. You can't just like 10 things I grouped together. I think you would want to break those into like bottom few, middle few, top few, or bottom 5, top 5. I think you could talk about not ranking them and still call it a top 10 for the extra hits. But I think 10 is too many for me to get like a total, unless your category is that broad. If it's your top 10 games of all time, that I don't mind that. But if it's coming out of top 10 space deck builders, I would be a little frustrated because I think there's only so many.
Yeah. So you want to know like what is the one that you would pick out of everything else,
or like the top few, and for a couple different reasons. Like, this is my top filler one, this is my top strategy one, like whatever the list is, I would want it to have some sort of opinion in it. But I only watch opinion-based content. I don't watch learning videos, and I don't watch run-throughs or live plays. So my personal preferences are coming out here.
Yeah, I did an article recently, and it was just like, I think I called it the best fun you can have while drawing badly.
I loved it.
Rather than like my top X drawing games, basically. And rather than rank those, I was like, these are all a little bit different, and this is what is fun about this one, and this is what's fun about this one. Like, because there's like a bunch of them, and they're all a little bit different. I like, they're all drawing games. So it's like, I didn't really want to rank them. So I ended up just kind of just blabbing it out and being like, this is what's different between them all, and they're all fun, kind of thing. So in that instance for me,
I really like this, and this is going to be a short plug, but just so y'all know, I posted that piece of content into our Meeples Included guild on Board Game Geek. You can join our guild, and I'm inviting anyone in the guild to also post their own content, because I kind of wanted a good way to aggregate our entire community's efforts out in the world. And so far, me and others have posted. It's been great.
I'm so bad at keeping up with posting on BGG.
Well, it's just like, it's so much easier when all of my friends are doing these amazing things to try and find them. I just want to see all your content, people. That's all I want. But,
so can you tell us what is the guild number?
God, I will in just a moment. So what have you been playing lately, Suze?
Well, I think that we talked a lot about Top's list, and I really enjoyed the conversation, but I realized, you know what we forgot to do at the top of the show, probably because I'm really bad at starting shows, is we didn't talk about stuff we played. I mean, come on, that's fun to talk about too. So
we also couldn't hear you, so we would never have known.
Yeah,
no one would ever know. Maybe you talked all about it.
All about the games I played. You couldn't hear me. Well, I played just last night, because time has no meaning. I played Exit Pharaoh's Tomb, the Exit Cosmos.
Was it good? Was it good? Was it good?
I personally really enjoyed it. I like escape rooms in general. I played Exit the Secret Lab, and I really enjoyed that. We played with a group of 6. Last night we played with a group of 4, which I thought worked better just because of the component limitations. But Pharaoh's Tomb, from Secret Lab to Pharaoh's Tomb, like the difficulty level definitely ramped up. And obviously I'm not going to say anything spoilery because that would be awful of me, but there were the engagement in the game actually increased as you got deeper and deeper into the game, and got more and more tense as you went. And in the back half of the game, there were a couple of aha moments that were so great for what you're given. And you know, it's a deck of cards and a couple of cardboard components. You know, we just had these magical moments where we were shouting around the table and things like that. And so that was an amazing way to spend some time with some friends. And that was Exit Pharaoh's Tomb. It was definitely a good time. I love this series. I can't wait to get more. And they announced that they're releasing 3 more soon.
Wow.
And I'm gonna buy them all.
Woo, that's a lot. I meant to try I think a couple of folks at the gathering had, maybe it was Secret Lab and Pharaoh's Tomb, and I meant to try it and just didn't get there. But they're dead cheap, so I think I'm just gonna grab them.
Totally, for $15 US.
Yeah, like that's ridiculously cheap. So man, that's awesome. How exciting! Yay!
How about you, Nicole? Have you played anything cool lately?
Tonight I tried Flatline, and it was very fun. It is a Fuse follow-on, or like in the same universe as Fuse from Renegade Games. And I feel like it's a little bit like Escape Curse of the Temple meets Pandemic the Cure. And so you're trying to save patients. There's like an element of real-time dice rolling and allocation, and trying to beat the clock in a way. And it was super fun. Like really quick play time. There were 3 of us, and we I think the box said 45 minutes to play. I think we learned it and played it in 45 minutes. So
nice. That
was, it was really good. Like once we were rolling, we were just like, we're doing it, and we failed. Our patients died. We got through so many of them. We were really good.
And the dice are amazing. They're so gorgeous.
Yeah, they're really nice. So it was just super fun. Super fun. And I also learned Alexander Pfister's Port Royale this evening. Little push your luck card game, which was really surprising, actually. I feel like I was expecting a little bit more, maybe like hand building and engine building, but this was just like push your luck to see how many monies you can get to buy cards that are worth points. Boom, you're done. So it was like, again, super quick, super fun, pretty easy to learn. I love Alexander Pfister.
Have you played Oh My Goods, aka Royal Goods?
Yes, I love that game.
So sometimes I hear people compare the two. So would you compare the two or associate them with each other at all? Or?
I mean, a little bit. There's a little bit of it in that, like the flipping over of cards. And once you hit to, like in Oh My Goods, it's like once you hit 2 little of the sun icons, you stop flipping. And so that's all the resources you have to work with. In Port Royale, you're flipping as much as you like. You can stop at any point. And then, but if you flip 2 of the same color ship, then you bust. You have a chance to fight them back with any swords you might have. But otherwise, yeah. So, I mean, that's a little similar, but the tableau building is much, much simpler. Like you're really just gathering coins and you can buy some cards and they're worth points. Like there's no generating of resources and there's no hand that you have. So it's a much, much simpler game. But both fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Megs? You played anything cool?
I did. I had quite a cool long week of gaming, and I hadn't in a while, and it was fantastic. So the one I'll start talking about, because I would imagine you all have played it because I was late to the party. I played Energy Empire from Luke Laurie.
I have not played that yet. No matter how much Sean tells me he is 100% in love with that game. I just haven't had a chance. Yeah.
I've only played it once. Yeah.
So I will warn you right now that the rulebook in Energy Empire does not explain, at least to me and some other very intelligent friends of mine, how the like end game trigger works very well. You would normally have like these stacks of tokens, and every time you earn a token in the game, you take it off these stacks. But the rules kind of remind you a million times to do it for one thing, but not for anything else. So my first game of it went really long. It was really boring and awful. But we very quickly corrected the rule, and then it's maybe a little too fast. The real game itself was like, so in it you're building resources and doing some things, and the trigger is these little pieces on the board, similar to the way that you take pieces off the board in CO2. And as soon as you've triggered like 6 of them, you finish the game. And so I'm going to try to get it 6, but I really think it needs 7 or however many timers per player. I want +1 because it was just so fast.
Wow.
Oh my God.
But did you enjoy it overall? Or is it hard to tell?
I think I enjoy it, but I think it's sitting around like I don't usually use numbers, but like a 7 out of 10 when there's a lot of 9 out of 10s in my life. I think it just didn't have an extra spark for me. Like it didn't have like a special something. But I've heard from so many lovely people that they think it's amazing that I want to give it some more try. And then the other one I wanted to talk to you all about, because it was kind of an interesting one, and I got some interesting feedback about it. Have you heard of the Infamous Traffic and Infamous Traffic?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this
I've heard
is...
of it, but I mean, I have not gotten close to a copy.
So this is like it looks like an old Alban VR game. Like it's a pretty small, kind of humble printing of a game. It's got like a paper map and very like wargamer chits. So Infamous Traffic is this guy named Cole, and he is getting his PhD, and he's a big history buff. And so he made this game. You're in China, and you're selling opium, but the game itself, it's not disgusting about it. It's not like it's feeling exploitative.
Okay.
Like it just feels like it's taking
the economy of the time. Yeah.
Right. Like you don't have any names or anything. It's just like you have Qing police and you have opium and you have smugglers and then you have bureaucrats, but none of them have names or anything. It doesn't feel like it's exploitative, but I don't know anything about this time period at all.
Right.
This is not something you study in a public school in the US. Like it's just not. He did provide a lot of historical context in the rulebook, but it feels a little funky to be selling opium in a game. That
is weird.
The game itself doesn't feel super thematic or anything. It's mean and smart and tactical, and like the game is really good, but it feels a little weird to be selling opium.
I mean, that's tough, and like not knowing about the time period either, it's kind of hard to.
So it's like it's outside my personal like knowledge and all of that. So I either need to do like a couple day's research or I'm not going to feel comfortable about this game. It's a really odd feeling.
Yeah.
It's not like Freedom the Underground Railroad, which was a time period I knew super well.
Right.
And that was feel bads in a different way. But at
Yeah.
least I felt comfortable knowing that I could recognize problematic substances. And this one, I just fell out of my depths.
Just trying to think like if there's anything else that I've encountered. I mean, the newer Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective brings up like opium dens in London, but there's not really anything in there about the trade necessarily. So like, I mean, thematically that works. And the mention of it doesn't seem out of place or necessarily exploitative.
Well, and this one is like, this is like British aristocrats going to China to sell drugs. And it's sort of like if you ever played Greed Inc. from Splatter, the things that win you the game are like getting a fancy hat or a noble heiress wife, or like you get these like luxury points, and that's your actual points in the game. It's not money or anything else.
What was the game that was like it released maybe 2 years ago, and it was like called Humanity or something like that, and I don't recall it. I remember being put off by the theme. It just wasn't for me because it was about like culling humans, basically. It had a really dark kind of
it was black. I remember it. It was a war game. Hold on. And I will tell you right now, I don't care if they're listening or not, that game was poorly designed. It was one word. It was right after Infamy came out.
Tomorrow?
Right. Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yep, it was tomorrow.
Thanks, chat.
That game is bad. That game is terrible bad. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are.
Well, I wasn't going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Just thematically, it really didn't appeal. But it maybe falls in line with kind of an Infamous Traffic, where it's kind of one of those themes that's a little darker and maybe a little more questionable about how you gamify it. And
it even had like radioactive weapons. Like, I played it once. It was pretty bad. It was like making fun of how bad it was. Like, you could tell they were doing it from a tongue-in-cheek point.
Right. Whereas it sounds like an Infamous Traffic is coming at it from a very like almost logical point.
It feels like he's trying to educate people about a time of history that he cares about, but I don't know that I wanted that.
Yeah. Especially with the colonial aspect of it. But I like, having not played it, I don't know how it handles it.
It's odd. It feels odd.
Yeah.
Another game that was based kind of on a history that I played that's lighter, much lighter, is actually it's behind me. Which helps me, The Lost Expedition from Osprey Games.
I've never played it.
Yeah, it's new, and it's about, and there's a movie coming out about the same thing, about this British explorer who journeyed into the Amazon and was exploring the Amazon and looking for this fabled lost city.
That movie's out. I meant to see it the other night, and I saw Colossal instead.
Huh.
Oh, there you go. So it's out, like with Sienna Miller or whatever like that. And when I got the game, I was like, okay, I need to do a little bit of research to see like what's going on with this game, you know, and how do I feel about it, because I just wasn't sure about, like, you know, British people going into the jungle to explore. And so I did a little bit of research, and it really just sounds like this person was driven. He was just an adventurer, and he wasn't a colonist. He wasn't like, he was literally, he heard about the city. He believed it existed. It was his goal to find it, and not really. It was fuzzy about like his intentions, but he was really just an explorer. He went in with a small troop. He wasn't known for, like, he didn't go in and like try to harm the natives or anything like that. You know, he would consult with them, and there are some stories that were indicated that, you know, he treated them with respect, and the friendly tribes respected him, or at least appreciated that on some level. They weren't, you know, they didn't view him as hostile. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I can do that. And it's a really simple game where you're trying to survive. Basically, it's cooperative. It's like a 2-player one. It's a solo player game. I've been playing it solo, and it plays great solo. where you're trying to survive these challenges and get to the lost city of Z as you move down this path. But you do it, there's cards, and all these cards have different challenges on them. Some are mandatory, some are optional, and you have free resources you're managing. And some cards will give you resources, some cards will take them. Most cards will take them away. You're losing. You're like, they don't want you to have anything in the jungle. And it's really interesting because all the cards are numbered. And so in the day phase, you play them out, and you can play them out in the order you want to tackle the challenges in. And at the night phase, when new cards come out, they play in order, in numerical values. So it's tougher, and you can't plan. And, you know, it's really light, and mechanically it's very, very simple, but it was challenging. And for solo, if you know, I saw somebody earlier saying like, oh, we're looking for solo games. It plays really quick and easy solo game. It's got minimal setup, and I really, really like it. And the art has kind of a Tintin comic book style.
I love that.
Wow.
The art is amazing. It's so gorgeous. And on top of that, and I've actually talked to some of the people at Osprey Games, and I really respect the fact that they're making an active effort to be inclusive in their game designs moving forward, and they're at least thinking about it. So you have 6 characters in the game to pick from, and they.
Oh, I remember you posted pictures of this, and it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they picked it's gender diverse. It's diverse as far as like where the characters are from regionally around the globe, and they're inspired by real adventurers, even though it's not like they're not trying to be historically accurate. So like one of them is a riff off of like Teddy Roosevelt, but then one of them is a riff off of a famous African American female pilot or African British pilot named Bess, and all this other thing. And like there's a South American adventurer named Isabel, and so they found real adventurers, and then use those real people to inspire the characters in the game. And I really love that. I love that. So it's a fun solitaire game. It's beautiful, and it's based on, you know, real things, but they abstracted it enough but kept the respect there. I feel like it's cool. I really like it.
Man, that's awesome. I want to try that now.
and you mentioned that art style. I don't know if you guys have any other games of that. I've never played it, but there was one called Corto that came out, CORTO.
Mm-hmm.
Like it came out a couple of years ago, and also had that kind of Rin Tin Tin feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was such an interesting art style. I've not seen it replicated since then, so I'm looking forward to that being a trend, because I'm sure it'll trend now.
Sure. Yeah, and that's Lost Expedition, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about that, because honestly, like the book has been in my queue of things to read for a while, so I'm excited to try it.
What's the movie?
The movie is also called the Lost something of Z, Lost City of Z, Lost
City of Z, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm excited to give that a go. In Seattle here, the SIFF Film Festival is just about to start up, so it's gonna be a couple of weird weeks for movies, but I try and keep up.
I bet. That's awesome. I'm gonna keep an eye out for that. Neat.
All right. Well, I know we got into a downer topic again. I feel like I keep dragging us down last couple episodes.
I find it fascinating to talk about. So
right. So I did play that one twice, the infamous traffic one, and now I'm feeling a little bit. Someone reminded me in the chat, feeling like I played Mombasa before I really understood what the theme was. Like last year, I played it twice without knowing what the theme was. And now I just feel like it's bad. It's not good.
Oh, really? I don't know anything about it, which sucks because it's a Pfister game.
I know, and you love him, so you may want to look that one up. But someone just mentioned Sons of Anarchy is another one that had some problematic elements to it. A lot of games have these like problematic elements, and if you're like me and you don't pay enough attention to theme, you can end up playing some things that are not great.
Yeah. I mean, the theme, like it could be a bit weird, but like you say, it seems like it's having a more of a historical approach than exploitative, which
I
Could be
don't feel like
interesting.
it was exploitative. I don't feel like it informed me from the Chinese point of view. It felt like it was from the British point of view,
See,
which is
that's an
not.
unfortunate part. Yeah,
That's
it'd
the
be
unfortunate part because it wasn't about the blight of these people's lands and minds and
yeah,
bodies. It was about the British coming in trying to facilitate the opium trade because there was money in it because they
yeah,
couldn't do that back home. And
yeah.
so I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
and even Weirder Move is in the chat asking about the Wallace game. I'm assuming he means Moa, which we talked a little bit on the
I
last
am.
episode.
I'm very interested in Moa.
I
Um,
I backed it on Kickstarter after you were talking about it. It's Martin Wallace. It's got a
yeah.
really interesting theme.
Yes.
Um,
So, I mean, you said we talked about this last episode a little bit. New Zealand has a very interesting history in not just in human ways, but also in like native wildlife ways. And so I think this kind of combines the two aspects of um, people and animals that inhabited New Zealand before introduced animals and settler colonial people came in. And I think this game is trying to take that idea and have players deal with it a little bit and deal with the incoming the forces that way. So very, very curious about it. I haven't heard much else about it, so I should really look into it more. But from first glance, it sounded very interesting.
Yeah, I covered it in my Kickstarter segment after we talked about it. I took a closer look at it, and
yeah,
you know, you play these native bird tribes, right? He abstracts everything into these anthropomorphized animals. So the
yeah,
birds are the natives, and all the players take on the role of a native bird tribe, and you are competing for territory amongst yourselves, you know, against each other, but then mammals are an invading or colonizing force, and you have to try to push them out as well.
yeah,
You know, there's some mysticism in the special abilities and things like that. But I mean, certainly, I mean, and the Kickstarter page itself is very blatantly open that he is directly speaking about colonization and using
yeah,
this medium to talk about it. So I think, you know, whether you think he did it in an appropriate or reasonable way is up for debate, of course. But it's obvious that he's making some kind of statement there. He's addressing
yeah.
colonization directly. They talk to that. So
It's a very interesting analogy. Yeah. And I think
yeah,
an analogy for somebody who is like, I mean, he's British, I think. It is likely better for him to approach it in an analogous way than for him to try and appropriately represent the experiences of Maori people at all without talking to somebody who's Maori or co-designing with somebody who's Maori. I wouldn't like to see him have actually done this like people versus people. But the analogy I think is a good one and abstracts it enough that it's still thematic to the area, but is not like weirdly done by somebody who has not experienced it. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I should really look into it some more. Very interesting to me.
So
anyway.
and the more that we talk about this, the more that I would like to speak with Cole, the designer, because I know this is coming from a good place.
Yes.
And we talk a lot about empathy in what we do because when you talk a lot about diversity and inclusivity, you get accused of calling people all kinds of names. But I honestly know that most humans are coming from a good place and trying to be the best they can possibly be. I don't think that Cole was trying to be anything but the best he could be, but I do think in my experience of playing this one game, I don't think I got the Chinese perspective on the opium wars in China,
Yeah.
which might be the problem. But he's a friend of a friend, so maybe I can, like, I know he has an interview on a podcast, I think, with Heavy Cardboard. I'm not positive. So maybe I can wrangle him into something with me, because I learn a little bit better when I have a chance to pick people's brain myself, rather than listening to it. But that's just a personal way of being.
Yeah.
I think,
and it could just be like that. The primary and secondary sources that he's using in his study are heavily biased that way, and that he hasn't gotten to a point where he's looking at the, like, I mean, I don't know what his language skills are like, but trying to look at primary sources from China could be very challenging for a North American academic.
Right, and he's coming from wherever his school has as their resources, whatever his professors focus on as their resources. I totally understand that. But I also feel like I was put into a simulation of a war I knew nothing about, which felt a little funky for me.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I am an ignorant American, but that's just how it goes.
But no, this is a great chance for you to learn some more. And, you know,
and I love learning.
And if this game is developed further, then that's a great chance for other people to learn more if they play it. So,
well, and he's got another game coming out called The John Company, and I don't know anything about that, so I'll have to do some research.
Nice.
Yeah. But I think we have to wrap it up because it's late and I should sleep before all the things.
For the big weekend.
Big weekend for you.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh.
Meg,
so if anyone's sorry.
Why don't you remind everybody who's watching or in the chat if they want to watch.
I love that she was gonna ask me for a plug and I was just gonna plug it anyway. On Sunday, if you are around, I have 20 teams of people from around Seattle. This includes like Bungie and Paizo and Wizards of the Coast, all kinds of cool teams competing in a tournament for the glory of a trophy. And they raised a hell of a lot of money for Treehouse this year, which is a nonprofit here in Seattle that does amazing work for foster youth. You can see that at twitch.tv/Card Kingdom all Sunday. We will be ready at, I think the stream will probably start at 11:45 in the morning, and it will probably go until 8 o'clock. Matt is in the chat. I feel really bad. I'm sorry. It's going to be a long day. Long day, everybody.
Worth it. Especially worth it when you get to go to a dive bar for drinks and fried food after.
After party at the Goose, everybody, if you're local.
Love the Goose. Oh, yes.
Especially because volunteers and people organizing this year cannot drink at the after party, so we can only drink at the after party.
Damn.
So it's going to be a long day.
That's cold.
But Sunday, it's twitch.tv/Card Kingdom. And I love you all. And I'm going to pass out from all the tired, and then I'm going to Wisconsin for Tuesday.
Huzzah!
But I really appreciate you both being here. Sue's all the technical difficulties, Nicole.
Yeah, we made it happen. Look at us go. Yeah.
Look at us go.
Unstoppable.
And we may or may not be here this coming Friday. We'll see.
I don't know when my flight lands. If my flight lands and my ability is to be here, we might be here, but I don't know.
We'll see. We'll work on it.
Okay. All right,
thanks,
bye. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. You're the best, even though you made horrible egg puns all night long.
Egg puns!
Still making egg puns in the chat. Good Lord.